So you've just got into Whitewater, or maybe you're planning to get into it, or maybe you've done it for a while, and you've set some goals for yourself. Awesome. For those of you that are fairly new, welcome. And if you've been here a while, then hi. Goals are the key to progression, and it's awesome that goals are set. But goals can also be a source of potential harm. And so in this video, I'm going to explain how to set safe goals in Whitewater. Also, if my eye is twitchy, it's because yesterday, I don't know if y'all can see it, but I got hit in the face with a paddle, so definitely not anybody that I paddle with that did that to me. Anyways, before we begin, here's a disclaimer. I'm not an expert. Nothing in Whitewater is ever truly 100% safe. Don't be dumb, don't be stupid, don't sue me. Here's an example of a goal in Whitewater. Jared Jr.'s goal is to run Chattooga Section 4 by the end of the year. Cool, nice goal, Jared Jr. But is it safe? Dun dun dun. See, there's a lot we can tweak to this goal, and we can start by adding a few words and considerations in to up the safety level. For those of you watching from home, try doing these to your goals as well. The first thing we are going to do is to add the words, to develop the necessary skills. By doing this, we've actually changed the target of Jared Jr.'s goal from Chattooga Section 4 to the necessary skills. We've turned this goal from an achievement-based goal to a skills-based goal. Why is this important? Because skills are a more accurate representation of capability than achievements are, and are a better building block for success as well. I've previously made a video about not making a rivers checklist, and a lot of you guys gave me feedback on making a skills checklist instead, and that is exactly what we're doing here. The other benefit of making Jared Jr.'s goal skill-based rather than achievement-based is that it relieves some of the pressure on him. Because the goal here is to develop the skills, not to complete the run, Jared Jr. could technically never get on Chattooga Section 4 and still meet his goal. He doesn't have to force a Section 4 lap just to feel like he isn't failing. This is doubly important for Rivers on a release schedule, because if Jared Jr. knows, hey, this is the last release of the year, he feels extreme pressure to get on it in order not to fail his goal. The next word we are going to add is the word safely. There's a huge difference between just surviving a run and safely navigating a river. As such, the skills that we're developing for Jared Jr. in the previous section need to be enough for him to safely complete the run. I don't think this needs any more explanation. It should be fairly obvious. Now that we've added some phrases to Jared Jr.'s goal, let's take a step back and do some considerations as well as to what this goal means in specific regard to Jared Jr. The first consideration here is realistic achievability. Jared Jr.'s goal needs to be realistic, otherwise it's just not a good goal. If Jared Jr. is currently struggling to catch eddies in Class 2, catching eddies in Class 4 might not be the most realistic short-term goal for him. On the flip side, if Jared Jr. is doing really good catching eddies in Class 3, then catching eddies in Class 4 is a much more realistic short-term goal, and by extension, his goal of developing the necessary skills to paddle Chattooga Section 4 is also much more realistic. Now that doesn't mean Jared Jr. can't set aggressive goals, it's just important to be real. The key thing I said earlier is short term. Jared Jr. can set his goal as catching eddies in Class 4, even if he currently struggles with Class 2. But it also means he has to do it on a much longer timeline, which is totally okay. If Jared Jr. currently works 3 jobs and has kids and can only kayak once every 2 weeks, it's going to take a much longer timeline for him to progress compared to someone that might be kayaking every single day. And so he will need to adjust his timeline to fit his own personal life. What's incredibly important is that Jared Jr. doesn't base his timeline or his goals on other people. Jared Jr. might have friends that are running the big stuff or follow kayakers on social media that are styling it everywhere they go. And that's amazing, I love that. But Jared Jr. isn't quite there yet. And this is hard. I get it. I'm on social media too. I have friends that are better than me. It sucks to feel like you're being left behind. And so it's important to recognize that everyone progresses at a different rate and that everyone can dedicate a different amount of time to the sport. And that is okay. Jared Jr.'s timeline thus must be personalized to himself, and not to those of his friends or his idols or anyone else. And there's nothing wrong with his timeline being a little slower and him running the semi-stouts or even the not-so-stouts. In fact, very few people can go from 0 to class 5 to professional kayaker within the course of a year. And because of the life safety risk of this sport, that is why it's so important that we stick to our own timeline and not to that of others. Bringing everything back around now and looking back at Jared Jr.'s goal with everything that we've added and the considerations that we've made, we get this. Jared Jr.'s goal is to develop the necessary skills to safely run Chattooga Section 4 by the end of the year, which is both realistically achievable and on a realistic timeline to Jared Jr. himself. This version of the goal is much more thought out and much safer than the literal word-for-word goal of Jared Jr.'s goal is to run Chattooga Section 4 by the end of the year. Removing Jared Jr. from all of this now, let's see if we can apply this to us. When we are setting goals for ourselves in Whitewater, let's make sure that we think about and include these add-ons and considerations. We want our goals to be skill-based rather than achievement-based, and we want to clarify that it is to be done safely. And then we want to make sure that our goals are realistically achievable and on a realistic timeline personalized to ourselves. Now I understand if someone's like, hey, what's your goals? You're not gonna say, my goal is to develop necessary skills to safely run River X by Y time, which is on a realistic timeline and is realistically achievable for me. You can just say, my goal is to run River X by Y time, with the knowledge that all those other things are considered and implied. Just please make sure the rest of the parts are truly considered and implied and not just forgotten or ignored. And that's all I have for you guys, so bye.